Hi there.
It's a new episode of Würfelcast.
Huzzah.
Pleased to meet you, to see you, whoever is watching, will be watching in the future.
Guess no one's
Well,
watching right now. Yeah. The
it's
future's the only
usual.
possibility.
It's usual. It's too early in the morning. It's Sunday. I mean, in US.
It's Sunday in
And
Estonia, too.
yeah, nobody's watching anything on Sunday in Estonia.
That's true. There's too
Except,
many fun things to do in Estonia.
except, you know, here we a segue. Except if you watch something on Netflix or another
Mm-hmm.
TV related program. It's Watchers Babble.
Huzzah.
See, it was a seamless
Yeah. Oh,
segue
you're
into.
gonna love mine.
Okay, what is it? Let's try again.
Well. Oh, we'll try
Yeah,
again.
let's. Yeah, you start and then.
Oh, I think we should just continue.
Well, Watchers Babble. Okay, my
There we
bad.
go.
Okay, I
All
got it.
right. Wonderful. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
So, twice a year, we get together. The church gets together for its annual general conference, and that is 5 sessions of religious messages broadcast from Salt Lake City, with the general conference of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and that's what I spent all day yesterday watching,
I
and
see.
that's what I'm going to watch again today, and
I
it's
see.
available on YouTube.
Well, I'll
I
I'll
told you
not
you'd love
switch
mine.
to. I'll not switch
I,
to YouTube.
I don't think
So
you need to find it, but no, it's a special time for me. Of course, I really enjoy it. Had a bunch of people over yesterday. We were just all watching it together, and then we went to someone else's house and all watched it together. And it's about 10 hours of religious messages, as I said, broadcast from our conference center in Salt Lake City, and that's really what I've been watching lately.
that's good. That's good. And I'm a person of faith in anime. you
Uh-huh.
know, I
You're
have
really
faith in
on fire
anime.
today. Uh,
Yeah, I try my best, but I've been binge watching lots of anime. I don't know. I don't want to watch anything else right now. It's easy. It's short episodes. Usually, it has some humor. It's light. It has some messages, world building, whatever. It's this complete experience that I have that I might not have with a movie or anything like that. With movies, I could watch it for 2 hours and be disappointed. With animes, I usually don't get disappointed. I don't know why, especially with the straightforward shonen type animes. And one of them is Black Clover, which has I've been not like that.
I'm so surprised.
Yeah. So this one, well, it's not the series is not over. As I know, the manga is still ongoing. There was a long hiatus. I don't know exactly, but there's only a certain amount of episodes. I think it ends on that particular arc that's going to be important, but I never know if they will come up with new episodes. But I don't know exactly. The studio might be the one who did Naruto as well, etc. This is a shonen manga, shonen anime, which means shonen has certain qualities to it. The anime has certain qualities. There's usually a a a kid who is, I don't know, bullied or is not recognized, doesn't have talent or whatever, like, but he becomes a um great warrior through the experience, through hard workshop, and etc. So this is the whole premise. It's the same in Naruto, it's the same in One Piece, it's the same in Bleach, etc. So all of these, like, nobody knows him, and then eventually he starts doing all those duties and stuff. And in this one, there is a boy, and this is a magical world. Everybody has magic, almost everybody, and that boy wants to become the Wizard King, the greatest warrior, the
Mm-hmm.
greatest wizard, but he has no mana, which means he has no magic in him. He's zero magic. But eventually, and he struggles. Everybody laughs at him, but he got this five clover grimoire, and they use grimoires in order to enhance their abilities. And he gets the five clover grimoire, which is a demonic grimoire, and eventually he kind of learns to use the demonic power, but in a good way. And also, his whole thing is about he has those swords which are anti-magic. So everybody who casts magic on him, he can cancel that magic. And the story goes on. He becomes the magic knight. Eventually, nobody believes in him, and then he does all of those sort of things. He always at the verge of death or near death, and then he overcomes that challenge. And he's kind of a brother, not really his brother, but they are like they grew up in a poor village in a church. So the church took them in when they were babies, and the church
Mm-hmm.
raised them. And one of them is like Asta is that main protagonist. He's magicless, and the other one is Yuna, who is blessed with enormous amount of magic. He is super talented. Like he doesn't need to do a lot in order to give to have a boost of magic, whatever. So yeah, there they go, and there's a huge story behind it. There's several arcs, and how he gets more and more friends, how they believe in him, how there is nobility who despises him because he's a commoner, and so on. The nobility still despises him, so he wants to, become the Wizard King and bring equality to the world. That
Mm-hmm.
that's the whole premise.
All right.
It's no spoilers. There's so much going on, and I'm on season 3 or 4 already. I don't know, maybe season 3. And season 4 is only like 16 episodes. Usually it's like 50 something episodes. Season 4 is
Okay.
episodes. So I might, when it finishes, I don't want to wait for the anime because the speculation, if it lands, it will land next year only. I might just read manga. But your typical
Oh.
your typical shonen, you see how the episodes ended in 2021, no new episode.
Mm-hmm.
But might be because the manga, there was no new manga chapter, so they couldn't do the anime as well.
Fair enough.
Well, I hope, because it's a great shonen episode. It's like Naruto, and I love Naruto.
Okay. Well, great. Those are very bingeable. I'll definitely say that.
You should watch it too. It
Try to
has
find
this
the
kind of a
time.
yeah, it has this kind of One Piece formula. It has all of these formulas.
Mm. Very well.
Well, all right. Let's get to the next topic, which is recent plays.
Okay. Well, so I have been digging myself out of a mountain of recently arrived Kickstarter games. And this is a process that continues itself as I try and learn and play these games as they come in. I had actually two that I was really excited about come this week. One is this new Witcher Path of Destiny, which I haven't had a time to get through the rules yet. And the other one is the one that I'll talk about here, and that is a game called Aberration. And this is one that I was really excited for. There's some that you kind of back and forget about, and then there's some that I was really looking
How do
forward
you
to
write
seeing
it?
the
How do you spell it? Yeah.
Aberr
Aber- oh,
A
aberration. Oh,
Aberration.
okay. That's a new word for me.
Yeah, well, it basically it's kind of a monster. It's an uncommon word. It's not really it's not a word that you find in everyday conversation. uh,
Yeah.
unless you're living your life differently than I do. Um, so I was really excited for this one. And what it is it's a cooperative back building tower defense game. And so you are defending this village, and there's a monster, there's this great beast, which sort of lives off camera, and it's sending forth its aberrations. And they start out as shadows, and so there's these face down shadow tokens that will eventually come to light. And they'll come to light in a couple of ways. You can light fires, and when they move into the fire, they'll be revealed. And when they're revealed, they do something terrible and they spawn a monster. Usually, sometimes they just spawn a monster. Um, and sometimes, actually, they give you a villager, which is, I guess it was some guy sneaking through the shadows. Um,
Hmm.
or they can, if you move into their space or take an action to reveal them, some of the characters have actions that can reveal them, and then that'll just spawn the monster. Or if they make it to the village, then they cause fear. Similarly, if the monsters come to make it to the village, they cause fear, but it's different levels based upon the monster. And that's kind of how you lose the game is if you get fear all the way to the end of a certain track, and you win the game. There's these goals that you're trying to complete, and those give you survival, and you're trying to get that track up to the end. There's also these locations, those kind of circular things on the board out there. Those are when you repair those specific or do tasks at those specific locations, that can also increase your survival and give you access to other abilities. Um, Kind of the other fun part of the game. So every turn you're going to take a chip off of your board, which increases some stats, and then you'll use those chips to do actions. But when you take damage, you're eventually going to move up to a certain damage thresholds, and there are those little you see on that picture there. There's that red dot at the bottom left of that player board. When you get to those that's the damage threshold. When you get there, you're going to draw these transformation cards that give you a negative penalty immediately, but then give you an ongoing special ability that you get these blank chips in your bag that really can't do much, but it can activate those transformation cards, which gives you other special abilities. So it's kind of an interesting game as you're kind of getting beat down and coming back up, kind of Cthulhu Death May Die-esque. Um, but the game itself, I've only played it a few times, and my plays have been enjoyable. The rules are simple, but very uneven. And that's because I've played only the short scenarios, and I'm wondering if the game doesn't shine in a little bit, might not shine a little bit more in longer scenarios. Because I've found I've either won it very quickly or lost it very quickly, and there has been no middle ground.
Hmm.
So I'm hoping. Now, again, these are the intro scenarios, and I'm assuming they're designed to be shorter. There's a 15 or so scenario book that came with it. So I'm assuming that if I play something a little bit later in the book, it's not a campaign. So if I opened to, scenario 7 or 8, maybe it would be a little bit longer, and that might give, me, because honestly, I think each time I played it, I've gone through the bag one time. Uh, and
Hmm.
there's not that many chips in there, and then I by the time I needed to reshuffle and draw again, the game was over either positively or negatively. So a little uneven. Hopefully longer scenarios will improve my experience. I haven't hated it, and it's interesting because all the characters are not just a little different; they're very different. Like all of the actions they can do are completely different based upon the different characters you have. So that will be fun if the game gives you long enough to sort of experiment with that.
All right.
So
Okay.
that's what I played.
Good. And I played another scenario of Clank Legacy 2.
Oh,
Well, I'm not going to talk about any spoilers, but um, overall, so this is Clank. This is your good old Clank. You have cards, you deck
wait,
build, you,
what?
you buy cards. You get attacked by a dragon, which happens quite so often. And so with Legacy, you write on the cards. The new thing is that you scratch off the boxes on the cards. It's uh, it's cool, but it can be if you binge the game, it can be annoying. As we don't play it that often, the annoyingness wears off a bit. So it becomes still exciting, to scratch off the card. But extra thing is that while you scratch it off, you scratch a lot of cards off. There's a lot of dust, the scratch dust, which is annoying.
That's very annoying.
So the other thing about this legacy, it wasn't the same with the first one, but this one again, it's a it's a long one. It's a long one.
It
It's a
is.
long session because each time you get on a you go to that particular story space. You read out, then you have to punch the board there, then you have to get a sticker sheet E and put this, and then there's a new rule, and there's a lot of changing
There
within
is.
one session. Yeah. So, and that's cool. You discover new stuff, but on the other hand, it slows down the game. And also, I played with people who are a bit too slow on their turn as well. So it slows down the game even more. I would still, and the thing is that there are 4 characters. You have your own book of small things,
Yeah.
small stories, your storyline. The thing is that 2 of the characters correlate to each other. They have this kind of a sometimes they have certain actions that it says if this character is in play.
Right.
So that means, like, I have this kind of a partner. There's another girl who plays with us, and she has the character that is in connection to my character all the time, and the other person has a character that is not in connection to that because we played 3-player. So in order to get the maximum out of it, you have to play it 4-player. But
Yeah.
I refuse to play Clank 4-player. It's
I
just
don't
too
blame
long.
you.
I mean, I don't want to play it. I want to play it 2-player. So if I would have known in advance, like, let's say right now it was just decision, I want to play it 3-player. Okay. But after this experience, the best way to play it is a 2-player, and to know in advance what characters have common actions or whatever,
Yeah.
what characters have connections between them. If I know this in advance, then my ideal way would be to play it 2-player with those 2 characters. That's it. That
Yeah.
would be
And
faster. That would be easier. A lot of story.
or to play it with the other 2 characters that don't connect, right? Because
Or yeah,
when we played it, we came across a lot. So Victor's character was one of the ones that connects with another one, and my character was very very solitary and had almost no interaction points with anybody. So I think 2 of the characters really intersect, and the other 2 don't intersect with anybody. Uh,
so you had the haunted one, I think. The
yes, that's who
haunted,
I
the
used. Hmm.
vampire, whatever. And
Yeah,
I have this the one who wants to revenge the knight who wants to revenge
okay,
and whatever, something like that.
yeah,
And she plays the that, and haunted is also in play, and that the girl is in play,
yeah,
the girl character, whatever.
right,
Eh, so yeah, maybe that. But when
yeah.
I played Clank Legacy 1, I don't know if I enjoyed this or the first one more, but the thing is, I played the Clank Legacy 1 2-player, and
Yeah,
what makes it more enjoyable.
that's possibly
We'll see.
possibly the case.
We'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah. Have you gotten to any of the cooperative scenarios yet?
Well, I only played 3 so far, so
Okay.
I'm not sure if this is cooperative.
It,
I don't want to spoil. There's a certain thing where we have to uh, contribute to a certain
no,
thing,
no,
and that
that's not what I
this.
mean. If you look at that scenario sheet that shows you how many scenarios there are some with little axis crossing. Those are straight cooperative scenarios, and when you get to them, it'll explain how that works.
I see. I see. Okay.
There's
Okay.
about of the 12 or so, I think about 5 were fully cooperative scenarios. It'll be interesting to
Yeah.
hear what you think of those.
we'll see. Yeah, but the thing is that, as I said, if you binge it, if I binge it, it will be easier for me to remember all the new rules, whatever came out. But the scratching will be annoying. Constant stickers and tokens will be annoying. If I don't binge it, if I spread it out, once a week, once every 2 weeks, then the other thing is that the rules will be forgotten. Like,
And you
what
might
was the
lose
new
your
thing
momentum.
we yeah,
Yeah.
what was the new thing we added? I don't remember, but
Yep.
we'll catch up. But this, so yeah, this kind of a system has some errors in it.
Yeah. I mean I enjoyed my playthrough of it, but I was done when it was done. I was I was ready for it to be done about maybe one or two scenarios before it was. And that's kind of how I felt about it. I got a little bit of fatigued by this one.
Yeah,
Not that
and
I had a bad time. It was great. It was, 12 or so games of Clank, and that's always fun. But
yeah,
I was kind of ready to move on to something else.
I'm just not sure if Clank Legacy 3 comes out, if I will commit to it anymore. It's
Well,
like they need to do some new formula of Legacy,
yeah.
because otherwise it's the same
Well,
thing.
yeah. Well, good.
Plus, super expensive, because Clank Legacy 2 is very expensive
It was very expensive.
for a
I had a
one-off
good time
thing.
with it. So made me start wondering, is binging it the way to go? But then having to set it all back up again, we decided binging it was the way to go. Um,
Maybe binging two scenarios in one go, and then rest a week, and then do two more, and rest a week, then do two more. Maybe that. Yeah.
I think we played it through over the course of 4 days.
Oh,
So,
that's a lot.
well, you know how we are. Um,
Yeah. Well, that's how it is. Clank Legacy 2.
okay.
All right, let's get to the next topic, which is crowdfunding.
All right. Well, mine probably won't be a surprise to you, but mine is on Kickstarter, a new and exciting project, Ashes Ascendancy. Um,
I heard about that
so
one.
this is the new wave of Ashes. So Ashes: Rise of the Phoenixborn is a game that was very dear to me when it came out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the style of game is the kind that really rewards the people who play it a lot, and playing it casually with someone who played it a lot was going to lead to a very uneven experience. Um, so because of that, I didn't get to play it as much as I would have liked, because either you're playing and just wiping the floor with someone, which okay, sometimes fun, but but it's nice to have a challenge. Um, or you're just playing it and getting the floor wiped with you. It wasn't the kind of thing that I could have a just say let's play this. Then
Yeah.
Ash's Red Rains came out, which I love. Ash's Red Rains is a 10 out of 10 for me. And that is the cooperative version of Ashes, which gives me exactly the experience I want because I can play against a sort of simulated opponent that I can go to town on. And if I'm having too easy of a time, I can easily up the difficulty. If I'm getting walloped, I can dial it back down. And it lets me try and experiment with all the weird characters that came out after I kind of had put Ashes aside. This is a new wave of Ashes. They're introducing two new types of dice, I believe, and new stuff. It's sort of the new jumping on point. And then they're also, and this is the weird part, they're changing all their legacy Ashes products to print on demand, so you can just go and buy whatever you want, and rather than having to buy, a box set, core, sort of individual Phoenixborn packs full of a bunch of cards you don't want. You can just do this print on demand service. I'm not sure how it'll work, but that's not part of the Kickstarter. But this part is, it's a great way for you to get in. What you're showing there is the new player set, which is going to be, I guess a couple of, it's sort of the new box plus a couple of the older popular ones. Um, and that's the all in. The all in looks like it has the Red Rain stuff with it. That's a lot of money. Um,
Yeah.
I, I'm
Yes.
I'm kind of
Which
wondering.
you will pay.
No, I won't because I already have all that stuff. Um, uh, I mean,
But it has
I
like
per yeah, but I already
20,
have those.
30.
Those already exist. That's all of the ashes from sort of the prior version of it. Um, that's everything ashes. I think the new player plus is so yeah. All the new stuff is what I'm getting because
Yeah,
it's
I
the
think
new
so.
sort
I
of core
think so.
box and then the big box to store it all, which has always been a challenge with ashes. It's very difficult to store, so I'm excited for that. Look, this is a good way to get into the game. I will say though, if depending on if you like the sort of collectible card game model, Ashes is going to be great for you. It's not a collectible card game, right? It's sort of they won't use the term living card game. They will, however, you just buy what you want, right? You can get whatever cards you want for a modest price. Um, but the Red Rains is really, for me, the way that the game shines. And all this stuff should be compatible with it. And it looks like it's going to come out with sort of their next wave of solo content as well. So I'm really excited about this. It's a game, the game looks great. Many of these
Yeah.
collectible card games look terrible. But this one, they've really invested a lot in the art and the world building and the character development, which is not something that usually happens in games like this. I mean, I met many of my kind of Swedish gaming friends through Ashes, through an Ashes online group. And then when I would go over to Sweden for Eurovision or for other things, we'd hang out and play other stuff too. I mean, it's a good small community about it. But this is, if you were to look at that $500 pledge and say this looks like too much, uh, this
Hmm.
will be a good way for you to get in the door, try it, have everything you need to enjoy the game, and then you can sort of bolt on pieces if you want.
Okay. Fine. All right. Well,
Usually on Kickstarter, I don't know anything about the game. Uh, this one,
yeah,
this
yeah.
is a tried and true product.
I'm the one who doesn't care because I don't like collectible card game, a living card game. I mean, the only one I think I really like is Arkham Horror LCG. That was the only one I liked because it had kind of a connection to Arkham Horror, which I enjoyed. The board game, it's the only one because I already knew Arkham Horror and loved it. So maybe that's what contributed to that. But yeah, when I played Ashes, yeah, another one. I I don't know why I just don't care. Lorcana we played, I didn't care. They're not bad games. It's just I'm not interested in that kind of a head-to-head type of gaming.
And that's fair, right? I mean, if you don't like that kind of game, then you're not going to like this. Uh, Ashes is most similar to the Star Wars Unlimited system, to be honest. Although the sort of way that you deal with the resource points is very different between the two. But yeah, if you don't like that kind of head-to-head, I'm trying to wear you down type of a game, then you can pass on this one because that's what this is.
Yeah.
Although I will say, if you wanted to have, I mean, it's a lot, right? But the Red Rain's way of playing it is a pretty solid way to play the solo or cooperative
Well,
way.
there's so many games. We'll
There
see.
are.
All right. For mine, well, not the Helldivers one. Well, where is it?
Oh,
Uh, it
I
should
don't
be here.
know. Oh, there's more Spark Riders. I'm gonna have to get that.
Yeah. So I saw that one
Hold
here.
on. Oh,
Spark Riders, yes, but I saw that one here. And I don't really know what it is, but it says
I think it's a
pirates, it
game.
says adventure. Well, yeah, I never knew. It's a second edition. I don't remember seeing the first edition, but this one is it has a campaign. It has I don't know what extra things it has here because I don't know the edition, the initial first edition. But this one seems to be moving around like miniature style, like I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
Gloomhaven type of thing maybe. But you have different characters. You go through the adventure and story. You have port phase now, which is go around the port. Maybe repair your ship, maybe trade and whatever. Get new missions from the tavern. This kind of Pirates of the not the Pirates of the Caribbean, but the Port Royale, and there was the I don't remember the name of the game. I think it
Maracaibo?
no. I'm thinking about a video game, but I don't remember the
Oh.
name of the game. I think it was a Russian publisher, a Russian design game, which was all about, and it's a very old video game, which was all about you become a privateer, and there's a story, and you get a ship, and then you sail the ship, have ship battles, then you can go and maybe destroy the fort, whatever. And trading and going to ports and getting into tavern, getting crew members, trading, all of that. Sandbox game. And this one it seems to be a little bit like that because there's a port phase, there's a voyage phase, there's an adventure phase, and you can sail around the Caribbean, Caribbean. How do you say it? Caribbean or Caribbean?
You can try either one.
Okay. And you manage your ship. It seems like I don't know. It sounds interesting. I'm not sure I'm gonna back it. I'm not really sure about this game, but if it comes out and if it's in retail, or if somebody has this game and I can try it, why not? I'll definitely try it. And I don't know how expensive it is. So the core game is $90. And there
Okay.
is my captain, captain, my captain, and there's some all sorts of different campaigns and whatever additions and mega expansion things and etc. And if you have all in new on board, all the playable content,
Hey, there we
you
go.
pay €200. And all I don't know what is this all in booty. Maybe you get some. Okay, so maybe dice and gold
All
coins.
in
Then you can
booty.
pay
Let's
more.
go for it.
Full booty. Anyway, if you want an all-in, I'm not sure. I don't think I want any of this right now. I want it to come out and see how it does, and maybe see some
Sure.
reviews. But if it's it's like sandbox adventure pirate game, there's not many of those. I'm still waiting for that Merchants and Marauders type game.
Well, there is Dead Reckoning.
I haven't tried it. But is it like this kind of a sandboxy?
Yeah, it actually kind of is. I wouldn't recommend the campaign. I did not like the campaign, but the one off, just playing it one off, is fantastic.
Yeah, well, I want that classical video game feel.
Well, I don't know if it's like a video game because I don't play very many of those, but uh,
I mean, the feel is it's all about you're the pirate, you sail, you upgrade your ship, you buy a
yep,
galleon,
you
whatever.
bury treasure, you fight some kind of a mermaid or kraken. There's a kraken in it.
No, you
Uh,
fight soldiers and forts, and then
oh,
there is
you can do
also
that too. Yep,
you have to
you might
manage
like that game.
food and rum, and you have to manage different.
Rum.
Yeah, you need rum, so they will not revolt against you, and you have to
I
manage
see.
different bullets, not the cannon, the cannon shots. They're different one, and like if you want to bring down the sails of another ship, or you want to go straight and destroy their hull or whatever. Like there's so many great things. I want to see all of that in a board game.
Mhm.
I might be asking too much.
Well, it depends on how long you want to play that board game, I guess. Uh,
Yeah. All right. Let's get to another topic, which is buy, try, goodbye. And also, Pablo in the chat says, I call them 2D games, all cars, no minis. So he talks about Ashes and
Oh,
all the
okay.
likes.
I'm okay with
So
no more minis or no minis for a while. Victor has a lot of work waiting for him anyway. Uh,
I see. Anyway, uh, bye, try, goodbye.
all right. So talking about sci-fi games today, I picked three sci-fi games that it did not appear you had played. I, however, have played all of them. The first of these is a game with the and we've talked about it once, I believe, but this is a game of, it's kind of a post apocalyptic world where animals have then mutated and built huge robots that they're riding around on and fighting each other, or fighting giant monsters, and this game is Barbaric.
Okay,
There's three versions. I like the one that references the Grand Canyon just because that's
let's
kind of,
go for that one.
yeah. But this game is, first of all, amazing.
There's no
I
pictures.
mentioned there aren't a lot of pictures of the game. It's not.
Let's try this
Well,
one.
there's some. Okay, that works. Whichever one you want. But so what you're doing in this game is you're going to sort of smash up a character and a big robot, and you're going to put them together, and then you're moving around and fighting each other, fighting for these objectives, trying to get this nuclear power core, which is guarded by the giant monster, and take it home before anyone else does, or be the last person standing. It's very much I won't say a minis combat game because there's none of the sort of crap that comes with that. But it's almost like an engine building game where you are just really, they keep juicing your engine. Everything you really get a lot of upgrades in this game. But yeah, you're kind of driving around fighting each other. You can fight that giant monster, but you cannot defeat it. That is never the goal. It's if you successfully attack it, it just moves around. But yeah, the game looks great. It's also pretty easy and straightforward, and has a nice kind of a post-apocalyptic sci-fi-ish theme. And that's the first one we've got.
Okay,
The second one is a game that I've only played a couple of times. I actually want to get back into it. It came out from, I believe, Russian publisher Cosmodrome, and that game is Frozen Frontier.
okay,
And it's not been, I don't know, that it's kind of gone under the radar. It came out last year. And what you're doing in this game is you've got spaceships that you're kind of flying around to these various areas of the world, and you're building out your, it's also kind of an engine building game, but you're playing these cards and you're trying to build these structures on this board. And as people kind of go through, they're going to drop off their own tokens, and then you're able to build this toll collection thing and get those for yourself. It's very much a Euro-y style of game, but a nice, interesting sci-fi overlay. I did find that the solo version was lacking, but with more than one player, it's quite enjoyable.
okay.
And then we have the third one, is a game about that most sci-fi technology of all, polyominoes. And this game is called Planet Unknown. And in in Planet Unknown, you are on a planet, and you're trying to cover it up with various polyomino pieces that are sort of taken from this lazy Susan thing in the middle, and it's going to, you're going to rotate it a number of spaces, and that kind of tells you what you can take, but it also tells other people what they can take. So you're kind of managing that as well. You've got little rovers that you're driving around the surface of the planet trying to pick up these asteroids and take them somewhere. So sometimes you have to drag them somewhere, sometimes you can just collect them. But if there's asteroids, sort of these, or meteorites, or whatever they are, on your board, they prevent that row from scoring. And you're trying to fill up rows and columns so that you can score points at the end. A very heavy sci-fi theme.
Yeah. So Planet Unknown,
Uh-huh.
Barbaric, and
Frozen Frontier.
Frozen Frontier. Yes.
which
So I
actually
had
sounds like it should be an ice planet or something, but it's more of a spacey planet.
well, it can be frontier can be a militaristic term, and frozen, which
Yeah,
means it's a frozen conflict.
yeah, I
No,
don't think that's this game. Uh,
I know. I tried. Okay, anyway, um, so I had Frozen Frontier on my wish list at some point because
okay.
it's a Cosmodrome game. They had Smartphone Inc. It's a good
Yep.
game. I don't have it, but it's a good game. It just needs 5 players. I at that point when I had it, I played usually 2 or 3 players. Wasn't the best
Which is not
experience.
how it shines. Yeah.
Then they had Furnace as well, I think. So they are an interesting company,
They are
and
with terrible
usually
distribution.
Arcane Wonders, especially now, Russia is a sanctioned
Yeah,
country,
I know.
so
But even
uh,
before, they had really bad distribution.
so Arcane Wonders is usually importing and localizing English versions of this publisher. So I kind of have some faith in them. So, and this one seems to be a Euro game with an interesting theme. So, Frozen Frontiers is a buy.
Okay.
Now, the goodbye is easy. Uh, I want every publisher to stop producing polyominoes games. It's an
What? The
old
most sci-fi
gimmick.
technology available?
It's an old gimmick. Stop this Tetris thing. It's not interesting. Polyominoes. Each game that has polyominoes gets a thumbs down for me. One of the things I don't like in Ark Nova, which is very popular, is polyominoes. Stop this. It's not interesting for me. But you have to stop anyway. Well, it's a goodbye. I looked at everybody said I heard about Planet Unknown a lot.
That's a pretty
Everybody
good game.
praises it. Yeah, but it's polyominoes. I just don't like. I played polyominoes. I
Are you
enjoyed few of these games, really. But
are you
then it got
sure that
old.
there are polyominoes in
It's all about that.
it?
Anyway, I just don't like this kind of a spatial puzzle. All about everything that's spatial puzzle. There are some exceptions, but spatial puzzles are not for me. I don't like them. And so that means Barbaric. I'm not extremely interested in Barbaric, but because it's a miniatures heavy combat game. But we can try. We can
All
try.
right.
So
There you
here we
go.
go. Bye, try, goodbye. All settled. Goodbye is like the lowest ever goodbye. Like it's 120% goodbye.
Okay.
So
There you go.
sorry.
Well, that was fine. I mean, I can still like the game.
Yeah. And Pablo says multiplayer solitaire polyominoes for me need to stop. Yes. Many of them are solitaire multiplayer experiences.
Well,
And
so the funny thing
I don't
about
care.
Planet Unknown is it is a solitaire multiplayer experience. However, the solitaire game sucks. I don't know how. I mean, multiplayer is fun, but the solo version of that game is terrible. So,
Yeah.
yet it is a very solo experience when you're playing it with other people. So I don't know how it was possible to make such a bad solo game
Well, one of the
out of a
what's
solo game.
its solitaire multiplayer games that just to reference one of the solitaire multiplayer games that has spatial puzzle, which I like. It's an exception. Is Evergreen. Evergreen does everything right for me as a spatial puzzle for some reason.
Mm,
I don't know why, but
it's good. I
let it
like that
be.
game. All
All
right,
right, so let's get to the topic of the day,
let's
which
go.
is top 5 sci-fi games. So
Yeah.
now, when we talk about sci-fi games, and we talked before that we will not exclude recently Dice Tower Dead space games and sci-fi games separately. They try to distinguish between them, but it's so hard and
So
it's not
hard.
really you can't like I do understand why they did that, because otherwise it would be most of them would be outer space games, but there's games that are on a planet that futuristic. So sci-fi for me is science fiction, which means for me it's technologically advanced, futuristic, something out of this world, alternative world. It can be in a space. It can be on Earth. It can be wherever planet, whatever world. Now, space games for me, I think sci-fi games is a broader term. Space games for me, usually what I think of a space game, if we ever do the list, I don't want to do the list of space games where, let's say, it's a game that takes place on a ship, but the ship travels in space, so it's a space game. For me, space games means there's a huge board, there's a universe, you travel around the universe on different planets. That's a space game. You are in space, you are controlling the space, the universe, etc. That's where I would, have this kind of a differentiation of space versus sci-fi. I don't know if you agree.
See, I'm not sure that I do. I think that space games are a subclass of sci-fi games. I think that's just sort of what it's going to be. And as making my list, I had a list and it was very space heavy, and so I put some others that were on my short list onto this list. Uh, there are some space games. I think, my number one is a space game, and my number three is arguably a space game. Um, but the other three are not. So,
Yeah. I also tried to do something like that. I tried to, because no, I mean, like, it's not like I'm not saying the other ones are not space games. It is a subgenre. As I said, sci-fi is a broader term. It just, if I ever want to differentiate them in any way, let's say I have a task to do that, then I would think of this 4x broad space games. It's the same with Civilization. Some people say Empire's Age of Discovery is a Civilization game. It has nations, you claim lands. For me, Civilization means there's a whole world, like a Civilization video game. There's a whole world, you have a nation, you have a technology tree. Technology tree is a must in a Civilization game. And you can trade, you can conquer, you can expand your cities. This is a Civilization game. But if you
there are
go
some people
into
who say
one,
Tapestry is a civilization game.
well, Tapestry has Civilization themed flavor to it. But I mean, it is.
I know.
It fits because it's the world, it's different nations, it's technologies. It's just very abstract.
It's
It's
also
not
a
your classic.
polyomino game.
Also, is it? Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That's why I.
But
That's why I don't
uh,
own. That's why I don't own Tapestry anymore. You see. So, but yeah, but if you have like, if you have a game about Roman Empire, and some people say it's a Civilization game, I'm like, no, it's a game about Roman Empire. It's a historic
that's
game. It's
fair.
I don't know.
Well,
Anyway,
but that's not related to sci-fi games.
yes. Let's get to
The Roman
sci-fi
Empire is
games.
not sci-fi.
Well, if it's Roman Empire, but it's a alternative world where Romans invent robots by
Okay.
abducting Tesla from the future.
Do you have that game on your list?
A
A
Tesla
game
game?
about a game about Romans inventing giant robots and taking over the world? Because I don't think that game exists.
I have it on my short list, but I couldn't. It couldn't make the top 5 because it's not.
Wait,
It's a non-existent
there's a
game.
game about. Okay, all right, there we go. Yeah, I was gonna say.
It's a non-existent game. It's also a
All right,
genre. It's a
very well.
subgenre of existent games.
Well, let's try and
Uh,
not put. I think there's enough good games that exist that we don't have to talk about the ones that don't. Ah.
yes, indeed. Oh, sorry. So Pablo also says, I like Foundations of Rome because it was not solitaire. Okay. Dystopia for me is more fiction drama. Red Rising, Scythe, This War of Mine, Frostpunk. Yeah.
Okay, I mean those
How
are
much?
all.
Frostpunk is a science fiction. This War of Mine is
Yeah,
a fiction. It's not as, like, there's no futuristic technological progression.
yeah, I think I would agree with you there, which is rare. But yeah, I don't know that
Yeah.
this world mine feels very sci-fi.
Yeah. Anyway,
All right.
we'll see.
All right. So, hopefully, most of mine are not too controversial for this list. My first game involves one of the most sci-fi of sci-fi things, and that is the concept of time travel. And this is a cooperative time travel game where you are agents going up against an evil supervillain at various times and seasons throughout history, and this game is The Loop.
Okay, I was all about like time stories. Oh,
Yeah, no,
well,
that's not me. Maybe the very first one. Uh,
Loop Pink is the one I remember. The
no,
Loop,
The
yeah,
Loop.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's the one
yeah,
I
yeah,
want.
yeah.
Um, you are a character, and so the theme is very abstract here, but but you're trying to sort of you're going through and fighting the various clones of this character, and you're sort of building your own little uh, card tableau. You've got these bonuses and abilities that you can use. Each character is a little bit different, and meanwhile, this doctor, this evil doctor, and I'm forgetting his name for some reason now, but he's trying to spread chaos throughout history, and that sort of a tower in the middle you're going to drop cubes into, and it's not really a cube tower. It's just going to shoot them out into one of three different locations. So there's a little bit of randomness as to which area he's affecting. But it's a fun little game, and it's a great solo game. It's a good cooperative game too. There have been a couple of expansions for it. It's been nicely supported. It doesn't really. I mean, the time travel theme is more trappings, right? It's not like I really feel like I'm going back in time or into the future. You're more moving left or right, but that's okay, right? It's
Well,
definitely a sci-fi theme, and it's a great fun little cooperative game that doesn't feel like a lot of the other ones out there.
okay. I've never played it, but I had some interest in playing it. Not buying it, but playing it.
Oh
Maybe one
well, I
day.
could have put it on a different list.
Yeah. All right. Mine is a game about time travel. And no, it's not time stories. We've like just disclaimer. Time stories, it is sci-fi because you are agents who travel time, but the thing is all of these the most of the game is historic in a sense that I kind of couldn't connect it to sci-fi myself. It just most of the game is not within the sci-fi world. It's very
Okay.
much historic. But this one is because and it doesn't take place in a space. You will eventually end up in space. But before that you have to build and prepare for apocalypse, and that's an anachrony.
Mm.
Well, the space-time traveling whatever premise, I would say it's a loan system.
Yep. It's
You
the
loan
kind of
something,
time
then you have
travel
to
we can
go.
all do.
Yeah, then you have to travel back to the past, kind of just pay off your loan. Anyway, but Anachrony is an expensive Euro game, which looks much more difficult than it plays. It is a
That's true.
complicated game. Don't get me wrong. And if you put several expansions and modules, and it's probably going to be very complicated. But
Not
when you start
probably.
playing, I haven't played with all the expansions.
Oh, okay.
I always play with the maybe I played with one module, but I always played the base game because the base game was enough for me.
Yeah.
So uh, it's a it's a worker placement game. It's a Euro game. You place your workers on a common board, but then you build up buildings, and it's like a little bit of that Manhattan Project style where you have your worker tokens, so you can put them on your own buildings, and then you have a main action you can do on the main board. What makes it sci-fi, of course, the Earth is dying. Whatever, there's an apocalypse coming up, the world will blow up, and you have these futuristic technologies, and you have those futuristic cities, different factions, and you are trying to build up, I don't know, a spaceship, something like that. I don't know. Then you have those giant robots which are immune to radiation, so you can send your people out into the earth. So because I think you live inside the protected area of the city or something like that. There's a like
Yeah.
a dome,
It's
a dome. You live inside a dome. It's something like that, and then you go out and explore. The worker placement stuff is great because it's not about like you put out all the workers, then you recall them. You can recall them anytime. You can recall them by paying. You can recall them by making them unhappy and work for no money.
or no
You
water.
it's no water. You'll get some minus points at the end if you keep doing that. But
Mm-hmm.
thing is, it's very dynamic. One player can do the recall while another player can do this. And if still if you do the recall, it's one of the actions. You can still do other actions as well. And like you never feel like you have nothing. It's like one of your turns is wasted.
Yep.
It's you always do something. It's a great game.
It is
It's
a
a
good
huge
game.
game. It's hard to get to the table. There's a lot of setup. There's a lot of tokens. When you explain it, it's hard to imagine how it's played. When you start playing, it's no, just put the worker here. Here it does. Iconography is great. I think works well. So, and Iconography my number five.
Yeah, I like this game a lot, but it's so much to get out that it doesn't
Yeah,
come out as often as I wish it did.
yeah. All right. Let's get to number four.
All right. All right. My number four is a fun game. It's one that I love to play with the kids from church. They like it a lot because it's a cooperative game. It's a real time game. Very sort of frantic for a few minutes, and then it's sort of stop and make sure and see what happens. And then it's frantic, then stop and see what happens. This game is Project Elite.
Okay.
It is you are sort of space troopers on a planet. You're never flying around space, but you're on this planet, and there are all these alien monster things that are coming at you, and your goal is to go out, achieve some objectives, which is usually destroy this by putting dice on it, or place certain things in certain places, and then come back to your base without dying. And meanwhile, the game is going to send waves and waves of monsters at you. And what you do is everybody says go, you set a timer, you roll the dice, and you resolve them. You roll them and resolve them, roll them and resolve them. And then, and as you're going, right, as you kill something, you kind of throw it to the side, and you're slowly, or quickly, I guess I should say, trying to clear the board, because once the time is up, then the aliens are going to act in sort of a pre-programmed manner. They're going to move, they're going to attack, and you want to make sure that you are out of their way. It's a game that I rarely win because it can be very challenging, especially because it's kind of random with the dice rolling. But it's just a lot of fun, and I like sort of the pacing of it. Of okay, all right, we're going to focus on this task now, guys. Come on, come on, and then we're going to sort of do the bookkeeping, and then we're going to get right back into it and focus on the task. And so I think that it has a great balance of that. There's a lot of expansions for it. Most of them you don't really need, but the core game is definitely going to be enough for a lot of play. And I really like this one. I've had a great time with it.
Okay. All right. My number four is another one that takes place in a city, in a on Earth, and
Hmm.
it involves different cities and it involves different domes. I think so. It is a sci-fi because this kind of technology is impossible nowadays. It's underwater cities.
Hmm.
In underwater cities, I think the world is flooded, and then you start building your um, civilization uh, underwater in the ocean. You know, it's not possible right now. You could not build cities in the ocean right now, but
Hmm.
I think we will be eventually. Well, and this is a another Euro game. You have worker placement, you have card play. You always combine worker placement with the card play. You kind of create a tableau of cards and try to get the most points. You can have the expansion, new discoveries, which adds a little bit more streamlined start of the game. It speeds up the game a bit. It's an involved game, and you can have this museum board kind of where you dig up old artifacts which are normal for us, like our normal everyday use items. For this civilization here, it's artifacts that are lost to the flood. And yeah, it's just a an interesting game where you try to build cities, make them produce the most of it.
Help.
Yelp, yeah, connect and play out cards. If you go on a green space with your worker and play a green card, then you can use its effects. You know, you have to combine the colors together. Yeah, it's a great game, and there's a new
Um,
expansion coming up.
I heard about that. Yeah, I'm excited. Look, I really like this game. Whether the sci-fi theme is very strong is probably up for debate. But I
Well,
never quite got the world is flooded part. I just thought we were building the city underwater, uh, just for fun.
I'm not sure. Doesn't really
I mean,
say here. Oh, the
it's
overpopulation. Okay.
yeah, it's not really part of the game. That theme is just it could be a line in a rule book somewhere, but
Maybe
all
I
right.
thought it. I thought it is. It doesn't matter. But the
Yeah.
thing is that it is sci-fi,
Regardless, your focus is building the underwater cities, kind of like Rapture.
which is impossible nowadays. Which is a futuristic technology.
They're underwater hotels.
No, not that.
Okay, well,
The whole
take
cities. It's a
take
science
it.
fiction. It says here.
Like I said, whether it's a great sci-fi pick or a sci-fi theme or not is probably something people might debate. But whatever, we can let it go.
I see. It is sci-fi. Let's go to number 3. Okay.
All right, my number 3 is arguably a space game. Um, Although it never takes place in space, this game is Unsettled. Unsettled is more of a game system than a game, because what you have, it comes with a couple of planets, but it kind of looks like a stereo box. Uh, but in it,
Box
you
is terrible.
are on a planet. Yeah, it is, and it only fits two of the scenarios, but I got an insert that lets me fit them all in. But so you are a team of scientists on a planet, and you're just sort of dropped there, and you're exploring it. And it could be any number of different worlds. There's one that's like a desert planet that has horrible storms. There's a mushroom planet. There's sort of a head that you're going through, and there's all these gross like lice coming out after you. And you are going through and you're trying to survive in some way or other. And you've got the help of a robot, which in one of the scenarios is also evil, but in most of them it's not. And you're kind of just exploring this thing. It's a very exploration heavy game. One thing that really has to be said about it is that it has some of the best board game writing outside of the Plaid Hat kind of Forgotten Waters area. That's the best board game writing, but this one, the writing is really good. It genuinely, it has this weird sarcastic tone that I just find delightful. I remember when this came out, Victor and I played it all the time. Now, I will say that playing it at more than two can get is not my preferred way to play. I love playing it solo or with two players. But you're just sort of you've got your task, you're trying to figure out how to do it, and the answer is never combat. Your characters are not like Project Elite, you've got you're armed to the teeth. In this game, you're trying to use your wits and survive, and you're trying to avoid taking too much fatigue because you'll just collapse and die if you do that. It's a really interesting
That's sad.
game with a lot of possibilities, and also great writing and an interesting sci-fi theme.
Yeah. It seems very complicated within its system and a little bit abstract. It feels like that. I've never played it. I thought about that. I thought about buying this one. And yeah, as you said, like with the expensive games, if I don't want to buy an expensive game that plays solo or two, except I have a Dragon Eclipse.
I was gonna
Well,
say I was.
well, there are some that you would do that, but this one I was like,
The
I don't
exceptions
know.
prove the rule, right? Yeah. well, this is one to try, right? I would not say you need to run out and buy it, but it's one that I have, and I'm happy to show you. We can play it sometime when you're here, because it's one I've been meaning to get out again anyway, because it's really good, and the rules are not as complicated as you may think. I think once you really get into it, it's pretty simple. Turns are pretty fast, and it's got great story potential in it too.
Okay. All right. Let's get to my number three. My number three is the one that is science fiction. So, look, there are space games that are only science and no fiction. I can give you an example. Cosmogenesis is a space game. It's all about planets, creating planets, creating solar systems. It's scientific. There's nothing fantastical, nothing futuristic. It's just a game about science. So there are space games like that. But this space game has science fiction because we are not able to land rovers on Neptune or Jupiter. Like we can just look at them from Voyager, from whatever
Uh-huh.
new James Webb telescope. We can view them a little bit, but not get too close. And that is SETI. Search for the extraterrestrial intelligence. Gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, well, SETI is a science fiction because, as I said, we cannot land on all those planets yet. And the other thing is that you discover aliens. Well, that is something out of the question for now. We might have it in the future. That's why it's futuristic. But
Mm-hmm.
it's a Euro game. It's a Euro game that's set on Earth and in space. You send probes into space, into the solar system, and then you can roam around in an abstract way. You can roam around and then settle on a planet uh, I don't know, the telescope
Or there's a satellite and there's a land rover or
or
something like that.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
satellite and rover, which gives you extra things, which gives you points. It's all about you trying to discover aliens, traces of aliens, and different sections of the game give you a different trace of an alien, a different
Mm-hmm.
color. You play cards; they are multi-use. You can discard them for a small free action. You can make them an economy income thing. You can use them for their main ability, and it's a little bit like Lost Ruins of Varnak. I think it kind of is inspired from that. They are different games, but they have some similarities to it, and yeah, it's more complicated. You upgrade your technology so you can do actions better. If you look at it, it's an abstracted Euro game. Eventually you will be thinking about combos and not thinking about theme that much from the first turn, I think. But but it kind of feels thematic in a sense. Like the actions themselves, you can tie them to the theme, but it's not
Mm-hmm.
going to be a thematic campaign type, adventure game experience.
So
Eddie?
SETI is one of my favorite games. I love SETI. You were a little defensive about whether it was a science fiction game. It is, right? I mean, it's
No,
very
just
more.
explain to the audience.
It's got the science is much heavier than the fiction, but that's okay. It's a very sort of matter of fact approach to a science fiction theme, which I quite enjoy. I thought about putting it on the list. I didn't, just because I didn't want to have yet another space game on my science fiction list. And I
Yeah.
have some that are more science fictiony than this. But look, I love SETI. Uh,
Well, yeah, it's not like I'm just explaining it to the audience,
okay.
and I would agree I wouldn't say real life, but it's more towards the real life
Yeah,
science
a lot like
fiction.
a lot like
It's
Terraforming
possible.
Mars is sort of a more, you know, matter-of-fact approach to the science rather than the fiction, and that's fine.
Yeah, Terraform Mars is also a science fiction game.
Yeah, but again, more science than fiction.
Yeah. It's something that we dream of, and it might be possible in the future. That's kind of a thing.
Maybe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, SETI's a good choice.
All right, let's get to number 2.
All right, my number 2 is a game that some people might question whether it's science fiction or not. I know that people have, because that game is Underwater Cities.
I see.
I mean,
You tried.
yeah,
You tried your best. Yeah.
yeah, I did.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, you see what I did there. Yeah, I pretty much what you said. I like the game. I love the theme. It's a more thematic Euro game than most, other than perhaps SETI.
Well,
Right. This is one where you're building up lots of combos and you are trying to play all the cards in the right order, and it can be very frustrating because you have to play a card every turn and you have to place a worker every turn. And if they don't match, you're kind of losing out on something, and that can be painful. But sometimes you have to, right? You got to make a choice, and it's very economic, right? You're building up your own sort of resource production and trying to fill up that map. And I really enjoy it. It's probably Vladimir Sushi's best game, and I say that as a fan of
yeah.
many of his games. Um, but this is the one that I think has the most staying power of them all.
I haven't tried many of his games. I tried the Prodigals Club and the Messina one. I haven't tried
Mm,
the other ones, the Underworld Cities, but it seems like Underworld Cities is performing well. It's one of the highest game. I think it's his highest game on BGG, and it still
it
gets
might be
like. Have you heard about Wood's? What was the Wood
Woodcraft.
game? Yeah, have you heard about the
Woodcraft.
expansion for
Oh,
that one?
no, I don't think there will be, and I
Yeah,
and that's
so
fine. I think that game has enough. That game is kind of complete as it is. And there's also the one about Prague, which I also really like, but I don't think anybody else plays. Um, look,
yeah,
I
that's the
like
thing.
most of his games. He's one of my favorite game designers, but I do think this is probably his best one.
And I think you can compare it to City in a sense, where you have to like the combo of cards and things, but City is different, of course. City is more
Yeah.
broad. It adds the multi-use of a card. It adds the other words. City is very tight. It's very, you know, focused on a particular thing.
Mm-hmm.
But both of them are a great Euro games.
That's
All right,
true.
my number 2 is the one that takes place in space, but on a planet, and especially inside that planet.
Hmm. Under
And
under with some mining, perhaps.
yes, that's Deep Rock Galactic.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sci-fi, and
Oh,
how I know
it was on my
it's
short list.
that's how I know it takes place in space, because every planet is in space. But the thing is that, of course, when you play it, it's not in space at all. But there's a video game it's based on, and the video
Mm-hmm.
game in a video game you always start your missions. So you have this kind of a hub, a spaceship hub, and you can see outside there's a space around you. So you're floating in space, and then you kind of land on a planet, and then you go down with a drill, and you start your missions. That's a video game. This one represents the video game quite well.
Mm-hmm.
This is something Mood Publishing did well here. I'm waiting for Valheim as well from them. I'm skeptical, but Valheim is just too big of a game, too sandbox of a game, but we'll see. Anyway, this one is you have 4 dwarves, you have your weapons, you have different weapons, different bullets, freeze or whatever. You have special
Mm.
abilities. One of them can create platforms to climb. One of them can zip line. One of them can drill faster. He has special drills, and when I play a video game, I play the drill guy because I can drill anywhere. Like I don't
Hmm.
need to do this pickaxe thing for a long time. I just drill through every hole possible. Uh, well, the monsters are also quite thematic comparing to video game. They have their weaknesses. Uh, they some of them are just flies that you shoot off. Some of them are bigger. Some of them are like warden. Warden is the one that kind of protects the other creatures. It's the same as in the video game. There's new expansions that I did not buy on Kickstarter. They were quite expensive. I was not sure about the expansions, but I really want them because they add some of those missions in the video game. We'll see. We'll see. So it's not like I need the expansions right now. I can play through the scenarios, and it's a campaign, but you don't have to play
Not
it.
really.
I mean, it's progressive in a sense that scenarios become more difficult as you go, and I would recommend playing them in order because, but there's no overarching story. Yeah,
Right, and you also don't keep anything from game to game, right? It's just some are more difficult than others.
yeah. So it's a dungeon crawler, I would say, but in a cool world with dwarves, with guns, and there's a lot of cooperation. We
Yeah.
like when we played it on the cruise recently. I played with a bunch of people who I don't know, and we had to, really cooperate. And I think we did really well.
Yep.
And it kind of brings people together.
It's a good one. I like this one a lot. I didn't put it on my list just because I had Project Elite, which is kind of a similar game with a different theme, obviously, but kind of the space bugs coming at you. And I also suspected it would be on yours. So,
Rock and stone.
very
That's what
well.
they say always.
I figured as much because it's on lots of the cards.
Let's see. Let's get to number one.
Okay.
Before you start, so with the previous Deeper Galactic, Rock and Stone is basically you can do that cheer in a video game, and when you go to play online with unknown people, you always have to greet them with Rock and Stone. Otherwise, you are a disgraceful dwarf.
I see. Very
Community.
well. Got it. Community. We're building a community here. There we go.
Yes.
All right. So my number one is a game I discovered on the cruise and really have been liking a lot and have been looking for
Oh,
excuses
let me
to.
guess.
Yes,
You discovered it on a cruise.
I did. The one
Is
that
the
we took
cruise
in
part of
January.
the? Is the cruise part of the name of the game?
Yes, it is. How did you know?
You had a
This
cruise
one's
and a cruise. Cruise within
this
the
one's
cruise.
showing up a lot lately because I've been playing it a lot lately. And like I say, I'm struggling under a mountain of unplayed Kickstarter games, and yet this
Yeah.
one seems to keep working its way to the top of the pile somehow because it's just that great. And this game is Galactic Cruise. And again, the sci-fi theme is very understated here, but you're working to sort of become the head of a galactic cruise company. You're building up spaceships. You're recruiting. It's more cruise than galactic, I'll say, but it's about running a cruise company, building up these spaceships, filling them with activities for people to do, recruiting people to come on your cruise, getting everything you need in place, enough food, enough oxygen, and enough fuel, and then sending your cruise ship off to go around to its itinerary where people will give you bonuses every turn until you come back, but you tie up one of your workers. You've got 4 workers, well, 2 at the start. You can recruit 2 others when you're ready. And so it means that you're having maybe less efficient turns once you get this ship out there. But it's really an interesting thematic game. Again, the sci-fi theme is perhaps not as strong, other than that we are sending people off for space tourism. So there's both science and fiction there. It's very much more of an economic game about running a cruise ship. And as I said
Yeah.
before, this could easily have been just regular cruise, right? It could have been about sailing around the Caribbean or the North Pole or whatever it is. But they decided they wanted to do it in space, and okay, I'm here for it. I enjoy this one quite a lot. It's one of the best kind of new Euro games that I've played in a while, and it's definitely in my top of the year already because it's almost a 10 out of 10 for me, and if I play it more times, it might end up becoming one. It is not long, or sorry, that's a lie. It is not short. It is not small, but it is easy to learn. The theme really comes across well. Everything you're doing makes sense for the reason that you're doing it, and that helps people to remember the rules. And it's just a very well designed game.
Yeah, I kind of knew it's going to be your number one. I thought about that because it's you have a very fresh experience with it. You talk about it a lot, and I was like, oh, that will be your number one because
I
why
think
not?
I'm playing it this Thursday. So I've got some people coming over, and that's what they said they were interested in. So I'm here for it.
Yep. All right. So you probably know my number one. I mean,
I probably do. Does it involve an alternate history?
no, that's the
Okay.
thing. I
Does it
well,
involve does it involve a potential for a traitor?
yes,
Okay. It was one of those two.
it's Dead of
Uh,
Winter. No, it's not. Um,
mhm.
well, my number one
Can
is
this game be over in
Nemesis.
one turn because you draw something poor?
Yes, yes, it's an amazing game. My number one
It
is
also
Nemesis.
involves time travel.
Uh,
Yeah,
that I don't know.
if you draw the queen on the first turn, then you do some time travel back to
Yes, you.
an alternate world where you did not do so.
Yeah, that might happen. Yes. Um, you get back into the pod, and the agents will send you. There should be
Hmm.
time stories, Nemesis. Okay. Well, the thing is that yeah, I thought about excluding this from my list because I talk about Nemesis a lot, but then I'm like, it's it's the sci-fi.
It's a
It's
list it very
all
much fits on. Uh, I
yeah.
don't know that you're shoehorning this one in. Uh,
No, but I mean, like, it wouldn't be like I wanted to just talk about new games. This I wanted to exclude some of the games to talk about new games, but then I'm like, it wouldn't be a legit sci-fi list for me if Nemesis wouldn't be there. It's a sprawling dungeon crawler on a spaceship. You don't know where you're flying. You don't know what's around you. You never know when the queen comes out. You know nothing. You just explore the ship, try to survive. You have limited amount of bullets. I played only a co-op version variant one because co-op is a variant at the back of the book, and I love to play it two-player. I could definitely play it three-player as well, even four. I don't care. The turns aren't that long. I'm not sure I'm gonna play it with the trader. I might like the usual version of the game, but co-op version is amazing, and I think it should have been a co-op game because that way it's a little bit easier. And the thing is that if you die, your friends can revive you in the surgery room, which means you get the second life. So, and I had some epic stories to tell when I played the game. It's like it was so cinematic. It is Aliens, the board game, and you talk a
no, it's
lot.
not.
You- It is a wannabe Aliens, the board game. You talk a lot between players, and you try to come up with a plan. It's very cooperative. That's why I'm like, why did they do the semi co-op thing here? It should have been full co-op. I don't know if Retaliation is the one that's going to be more co-op or not. I don't know. The new one. It seems
Yeah,
to be they came back to they have now you have three different versions of the game. The second one, I'm not sure. I'd never played it. I looked at
lockdown.
that. I was like, no, I don't want it. And Retaliation seems to be coming back to original Nemesis and making it better. It seems to be they seem to be more related to each other. We'll see.
Hmm.
I didn't back it when it comes out. I want to see how people talk about that, and then I'm maybe gonna buy it and replace my Nemesis with Retaliation if they're very
Right.
similar and the other one's better. But yeah, That's
Okay.
my number one, Nemesis.
Yeah, I like this game. It's one that I rarely play just because it is a lot of work. Um, it's a lot of work to set it
This,
up.
yeah,
It's a lot of work to teach it. It's a lot of work to learn it. And once you've gone through those steps, you can have a great time with it, especially if you're willing to use the time travel variant that I mentioned earlier. Because
yeah.
if the game ends in 10 minutes after, an hour of setup and teach, it's definitely time for some time travel.
Well, well, that's the
But
thing. You can reset once it's set up. You can reset it really fast,
yeah,
and you
that's
can
true.
pick new characters that like, oh, these characters don't work together. Let's pick new characters. Try it again. And
Or
one,
you can say, hey, we're two turns in. How about we restart?
yeah, and you can,
And keep
especially if
everything
you
else the
play,
same.
especially if you play co-op. You can always do that, and
Hmm.
yeah, it just, yeah, yep.
Anyway,
Anyway,
again, this is a game that really you can have uneven experiences. I've talked about those a lot today. The highs are high, but it can be a very uneven depending on how it is, just because it has so much going on and a lot of randomness in a few certain areas that you got to be careful. You got to give it maybe more than one try sometimes.
well, I think I was blessed with not that many, or I think none of the uneven experiences. Sometimes, yeah, I know that the chances to survive are near zero, and even then, I try to fight as much as possible.
Hmm.
I kind of create the 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 tension. I try to create the tension. Try to create the narrative for it. It's like survive till the end. I'm not playing this game for the win. I never
Okay.
played this game. Maybe that's the mindset. If you never play this game for like I just need to win, and but you think about I just want to enjoy the experience and try to survive as long
Yep.
as possible. That's why I did never have the bad experience with it. So,
Okay.
all right.
There you go.
Uh, so the one that you mentioned, let's get back here. The one that you mentioned that has alternative history. Well, I thought about that, and you talked about Scythe,
I didn't
probably.
mention that word.
Well, I knew what you were thinking about. Well, I don't know. Scythe, it is science fiction in a sense, but it's more of a alternative history. I don't know. I just once I start playing the game, the mechs are there, but the rest is very historic and old fashioned. It like the only thing that makes it uh science fiction are the mechs, and everything else around it is, oh, I'm gonna work in the field. I'm gonna explore, and there's farmers, and there's that. Like, and there is a German faction, and there's a Russian faction, though they're not really Russian and German, but you know, we all know that the Black
Do
German
we?
faction and the Red USSR faction.
No, those
Anyway,
words aren't in there. All right.
yeah, of course, Marsha and her bear there. Okay. Anyway, yes,
But that's
I didn't feel like putting Scythe on this list. It's an amazing game, but
I considered it, but I found other games that did sci-fi a little bit better than Scythe. So
yeah,
all
even if it's in the name, Scythe, it was enough to.
right,
If it
you got
would
to
be
stop.
Scythe I, then
Hmm.
okay,
All right, that was not your best work, my friend.
but not the worst.
No, it's true. Also true.
You should watch all of our previous episodes. You'll find some of my worst
Hmm.
and some
I'm
Kyle's
saving
worst.
my. Well, hey, I told you my bad joke yesterday, so I don't have to tell it here.
Well, yeah, it was two jokes, and
Hmm.
I would discourage you to tell them on
I'm not
air.
going to.
Yeah, it's just not the way to end the
This is
episode.
not the way. Is that how? All
Well,
right.
thank you everyone for watching.
Bye
I'm a
bye.
bit losing my voice, so
All
bye
right.
bye.
Bye bye.